a look at this little boy. Growing up, he thought he was white. It wasn't until he was in his 20s that the truth was revealed and he discovered that he was living a lie.
I didn't find out I was African American until I was 26 years old. My parents were white, middle-class, Midwestern parents. I always thought that my parents were my birth parents. My mother told me I had a skin disease, and that's why my skin was dark. I believed it as a young child 100%. Why would my mother lie to me? I questioned my father, and he said maybe there was a mix-up in the delivery room. I thought I was this little white kid walking around the neighborhood just like any other white kid. I did not want to believe that I was black because I saw how blacks were looked at. When I was in second grade, one of the little girls brought in a poem that went, "Eeny, meeny, miny, moe, catch a nigger by his toe." That upset me. The kids at school called me nigger, jungle bunny, tar baby. I didn't know what these words meant, but I associated them with bad things. I started to guess my true identity in my early teens. I dated an African-American girl, and I tried to tell her the skin disease story. She cut through it like a hot knife in butter, and she said, "Your mom really put a whammy on you." Growing up in the 60s, I had no awareness of racism. There were no African Americans in my neighborhood whatsoever. I saw news footage of blacks being sprayed by fire hoses, and I asked my mother why. And she said it was because they were hot. My parents were in denial and never talked about race. It never came up. When I was 26, I found out the truth of my parentage. My mother told me my biological father was black. My life became more difficult after I learned that I was black. My parents are extremely angry with me for exposing the story of my past. My family feels like I outed them. I don't have any contact. My parents have disowned me. I'm not black and I'm not white. I mean, I'm both. And what's that? Dr. Phil, can you help me reconcile my relationship with my white parents?
I want to talk a little bit about what happened here, because you grew up and you asked questions about this along the way, because I assume it was obvious that you were different from the other children, and they told you you had a disease called melanism?
They didn't really specify. They said I had a skin disease, and it didn't come up, Dr. Phil, until I came home from school after I was teased by some of the other children.
They called you names, they made fun of you.
Called me nigger, called me jungle bunny.
You had a really bad reaction to this because it's kind of an identity crisis, right? It makes your whole life and your whole existence essentially a lie.
That happened later as I grew up.
We invited your parents to be here, and they declined to come. Mm-hmm. Where are you now in terms of having an understanding and a peace about who you are?
I'm realizing things about myself, about my parents, about other people, and it's helping to fit into the big picture, perhaps.
Yeah, because the bottom line is there's no way that that's an okay thing to do with a child throughout their life. Now, you can forgive it. Once we become adults, whatever has happened during our childhood, good, bad, or indifferent, we have to take that and make our own choices, and you're working really hard and doing a great job of embracing that right now. I wanted Dave to meet a woman who had to keep her racial identity a secret for almost her entire lifetime. Essie Mae Washington Williams knows firsthand what it's like when your family lives a lie. She kept her secret silent for over 62 years. Her biological father is the late Senator Strom Thurmond, who was once the nation's leading voice for racial segregation. Essie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
You understand some of what you're hearing here with Dave in a big way, don't you?
Oh, yes.
You dealt with the secret for 62 years. What can you say to this young man to make his journey easier?
I feel if he has tried to reach out to these people and they don't respond to him, I wouldn't keep pursuing it. I would just let it go. And maybe one day they may come to you. But I think you might be a happier person if you didn't keep trying to be a part of them.
There comes a point where it's what I've called the authentic self. Once you decide who you are and what you stand for, then the rest of it is nice if it's congruent with who you have defined yourself to be. But if it's not, it seems to pale in comparison. It would be awfully hard to have you as a son and not be proud of you. You know, you have so many great qualities and features that any family would be proud to have you in their family. And I predict they will come around. And that's something that it's great to want. But the truth is, it's not something you need. You know, sometimes you have to give yourself what you wish you could get from other people. And you're making a really nice life and a contribution to this society in the meantime, aren't you?
I'm giving it my best shot. Yes, yes, sir.
Yeah, and that's something that you've got to be proud of. All right, next, a daughter who says her mother deals the race card every time they argue and tells her she's not black enough. We'll be back and talk about that, and I want to hear what y'all say about that. Are you a tennis pro?
Yes, sir.
Where do you teach?
Well, actually, I was 3 years at Lake Tennis Center.
I'm proud to be white and I'm proud to be black, but my mom, I guess, thinks that I'm not black enough.
Sine is missing a sense of black pride.
She's all like, "You're black, Sine. Stop trying to be white."